In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Listen, folks, I'm here to tell you our political system is broken. The two-party system is dead. They have become one and the same.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host. Favorite host.
This is always the killer, the one that just destroys that never Trump argument. Hillary Clinton will fill the Supreme Court with liberals. She'll also appoint federal judges with a liberal bent to them.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Don't let anybody tell you that it's corporations and businesses that create jobs.
Arrogant, sanctimonious, self-righteous, sabotaging Trump.
Everybody's got to be covered. This is an un-Republican thing for me to say, because a lot of times they say, no, the lower 25% they can't afford. I am going to take care of everybody. I don't care if it costs me votes or not. Everybody's going to be taken care of much better than they're taken care of now. The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side. ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS. Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe that's what I said.
What realized is that the Bill Kristols of the world, the Never Trump people, they were just never serious. They never had any kind of ground game. They never had an actual candidate they could pick.
And in a surprising and disturbing move today, the Libertarian vice presidential candidate just agreed that rifles are weapons of mass destruction, and people on the terror watch list should not be allowed to purchase guns. So in other words, the party of freedom is liberty for me, but not for thee. Go figure.
Compromise where you can. Where you can't, don't. Even if everyone is telling you that something wrong is something right. Even if the whole world is telling you to move, it is your duty to plant yourself like a tree.
Well, good evening, folks, and happy Monday, as happy as a Monday can be anyway. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We're back with you live after a very long weekend, very stressful weekend. For those of you who may have been trying to listen to Finding Common Ground, I apologize. The show ended rather abruptly. For those of you who may not know, I have my studio basically out in the middle of nowhere, and the hamsters fell off the wheel about 40 minutes into the show, and the hamsters weren't able to climb back up on the wheel for about 2 hours. So, needless to say, it's been an interesting weekend. Not going to go into all the details. But one of the biggest things is I actually fell back on the wagon, so to speak, with my writing. I actually sent an op-ed piece over to American Action News that posted this previous Saturday. So if you've missed it, feel free to go check it out there. I have to tell you, if you're a Trump supporter, you're probably not going to like it, but that's okay. I didn't write the article to win friends or influence people. As you can see from the 100 and some odd comments on it so far, apparently I have succeeded in my mission of irritating and annoying Trump supporters everywhere, because I've been called everything from an idiot to a traitor. So, just to make sure that we're on the same page here, I want you guys to understand exactly what's going on, because at this point we have one party that has basically completely succumbed to socialism, the Democrats. They want everything to be free, because as long as it's free, or you think it's free, then you're going to continue to vote for the folks that promise to keep giving you more and more free stuff. We've seen it play out over the last 2 election cycles. Even though the country is in probably the worst shape that it's ever possibly been in, we still see people flocking, picking up the blue banner, going off the war, going to pull the lever, got to make sure that we get to keep our free stuff because the Republicans want to take it all away. Well, for those of you that are worried about that, you might as well kind of stop worrying, because if you've noticed, the Republican Party's taken a really sharp turn left at this election cycle, and nobody's noticing, nobody's caring, nobody's talking about it. We're all going, oh my God, Trump is the only way to save the country. Rick, you have to vote for Trump, because otherwise we're going to get Hillary, it's going to be terrible, and we're not going to survive. If you paid attention to the things this man has said, we're not going to survive if either of these people get into office. If you're going to play that extreme of a game about it, then you might as well just be honest and say at this point, if either one of them get in office, we're probably screwed anyway. So why don't we try to do something a little different for once? And it's the same thing that I tried to point out in both the article and the comments, and it's the same thing that those of you that listen to the show have heard me say a lot. We have a very Pavlovian response when it comes to elections. It gets to the point where, oh my God, there's only 2 choices. No, actually, there are about 16 choices, and there are about 1,600 people running for president. But because we have these 2 major parties that are now basically just nothing but different branches of the same party, who have all the control and pull all the purse strings, those are really the only ones you ever get to hear about. We have done everything we can here to try to bring you as many of them as we could. We've interviewed some off-the-wall presidential candidates. We've interviewed some of the more serious mid-runner presidential candidates. But all we've been trying to do this entire cycle is bring you as many choices as possible. Because the thing that nobody seems to understand at this point is, I used to go along with the analogy that there were 3 types of people in the world. There were sheepdogs, and wolves. I'm discovering, though, that wolves aren't the only bad animals around, because the funny thing is our party's been taken over. Or I should say my former party, because I'm no longer a registered Republican. And nobody noticed. We had the Tea Party group come in, sweep through with all this anger and rhetoric about how they were going to make change, and they were going to do this, and they were going to do that. And it started out as this really great, wonderful idea, because everybody was like, oh, wow. Wow, we actually have people that are paying attention to us. And they're going to do what we tell them to do, like the government's supposed to. But what we didn't realize is there were other people behind the scenes in the Tea Party movement that were basically quietly behind the scenes grabbing up more and more control of it, whether it was voluntary or involuntary, I'm not sure. One of those people was Stephen Bannon. Might recognize the name from Breitbart. He's also now a member of the Trump Campaign Advisory Committee. Stephen Bannon is a self-proclaimed Leninist. For those of you who aren't sure what I'm talking about, get rid of the ist. Lenin. Anyone remember Lenin? And I'm not talking the Beatle. Lenin, Stalin, remember those guys? Yeah. This guy's basically been telling everybody for the longest time, anybody that would listen, that his entire goal was to destroy the state. And when he got involved in the Tea Party movement, he thought he found a way to do that. And then the Tea Party movement kind of went the way of all of the other flash-in-the-pan movements that typically come along when people are doing nothing but being driven by anger and things don't work out the way they'd hoped. The problem is Mr. Bannon has been quietly working behind the scenes to continue finding ways to disrupt and destroy the state. Now, some of you are like, well, why is that a bad thing? Because remember where he got the idea from to do these things. He is a follower of the philosophy of Lenin, and he is an advisor to a potential candidate to the presidency. This is no different than when we saw Uma Abedin get the president's ear. Those of us that understood how ISIS worked and the different things that they could do were completely freaked out by this concept. The left, not so much. And now it's our turn. We have elected, or we are attempting to elect, I should say, someone with absolutely no political experience, which in one instance is even worse than Obama, because at least he did a half-baked attempt at both state and U.S. Senate before he stepped into the presidency. We also have someone who is very narcissistic, very vain, who can't stand up to pressure, who can't handle people ridiculing or talking about him, who can't even set things aside once he's won, because he targets people even now within his own party because they wouldn't bow to his whim. And this is who we're about to turn over, or attempt to turn over, the country to. Look, folks, we've already spent 8 years with a commander-in-chief that had to get 7.5 years of on-the-job training. The scariest thing, and really the only difference between Donald Trump and Barack Obama, is the fact that Trump actually understands the power that he would have access to wield. Because he has had access to power. Obama, really not that much. He was an adjunct professor, a community organizer, a state senator, a junior senator in U.S. politics, and then catapulted to the spotlight thanks to a good speech back in, I believe it was 2006-ish, when he really kind of burst onto the stage, and everybody figured out that he was going to be malleable. Now, fast forward 8 years. We've been making fun of Obama, making fun of his lack of experience, making fun of the fact that he can't seem to ever get anything accomplished other than a couple of things that he's clinging to desperately to make sure that he has some form of a legacy. One of those being Obamacare, and the other one, the amnesty stuff that he basically ran through using his pen and his phone. And so we make fun of the people that were supporting Obama. We make fun of Obama for being one of the most inept political leaders that we've had in our lifetime. And yet, when we have a chance to finally do something to show the world what conservatism and show Americans what conservatism actually still means, we turn our back on everything conservatism stands for. Everything conservatism stands for, and we put a orange, crazy-haired buffoon at the top of the GOP ticket. And yet somehow, because I keep pointing out all of the behind-the-scenes connections between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, I am the one that's been labeled as a traitor. I will tell you this today, and I say this in no uncertain terms. Only God and history can judge me a traitor. You do not have the authority, neither does anyone else, to judge me a traitor. If I am deemed a traitor by either history or by God, then I will take that judgment because I am standing for what I believe in, even if it means I stand alone. And what I have been telling you all now for months is if we go down this path, whether it be with Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, the United States of America as we know it will cease to exist. We have allowed ourselves to be painted into a corner where we are now no longer choosing between the lesser of two evils. We are choosing between poisons. So ladies and gentlemen, step right up. Pick the blue pill. It's got cyanide in it. Go ahead. Step right up. Pick the red pill. It's got hemlock in it. But hey, you've got to pick whichever one, right? Because those are the only choices that we have. And by God, if you're a supporter of the red pill and you don't pick it, then you're a traitor because you're automatically voting for the blue pill. And by God, if you're a supporter of the blue pill and you don't vote and you don't pick that one, then you're automatically a traitor because you're somehow supporting the red pill. And yet both of them are just as likely to get us killed. One possibly a little slower than the other, but the jury's still out on that. And I don't know which one of the two would be the slower, to be quite frankly honest. But what I do know is I am tired of people that have no concept of how our election system actually works and how our government actually works telling me that I'm a traitor for giving you my opinion. I'm not telling you who you should vote for. I'm telling you why I can't vote for either one of them. And if in your eyes that makes me a traitor because I won't vote for Trump because that automatically means that I'm voting for Clinton, put your Common Core math away. You're not going to scare me anymore because that's not how this works. How this works is we need to finally decide that we've had enough. This should have been the election cycle that we could have put forth a third option and actually showed the two-party system that we were done buying into their crap. But we didn't do that. We fell in line. We got mesmerized by a guy who knows how to run a friggin' reality TV show. Neither one of these people is fit for the presidency. Hillary Clinton should be in an orange jumpsuit right now, but she continues to do everything that she can behind the scenes to work whatever angle she can to not only make sure that she doesn't face any charges, but to make sure that she becomes the president. And if you don't think that that's been by design this entire time, then you're not paying attention. Why did Donald Trump call Bill Clinton before he decided to run? Do you honestly think that conversation was anything like what it's being painted to be when you talk to Trump supporters? Well, he was just telling him that he was sorry because he's going to have to oppose Hillary Clinton because she's just not good enough to be president, Rick. That's what that was about. They used to be friends, so he was trying to be nice and say, okay, well, here it is, Bill. I can't just sit on the sidelines anymore. We have to be able to do something better than your wife. Are you kidding me? I actually had someone in the comments of the article that I wrote, because I don't know if other folks that write articles usually do this, but I like to spend time in the comment section, because if people took the time to read something that I wrote and they have questions about it or they want to make statements about it, then I'm going to try to continue the conversation. So I actually, in one comment, was pointing out to someone else that I wasn't going to continue to buy into the two-party line anymore because it's become worse than the scripting for WWE. They don't even try to hide the collusion between the parties anymore. It's blatant. We had we had the DNC talking points at the GOP. We have someone at the top of the Republican Party ticket who is friends with the person at the top of the Democratic Party ticket. Their children are friends. He called her husband before he decided to run. He used to say she was the best Secretary of State ever. She was the best senator for New York ever. And now all of a sudden, because he said a few harsh things, everybody, well, obviously, Rick, that bridge is burnt. No, it's not. We're being played. We've been being played by both of them, and I'm going to continue to say this until November the 9th. Look at what he does. Every single time Hillary Clinton could possibly do anything that's going to give her any bad press, all of a sudden he runs in, sticks his foot in his mouth, and starts hopping up and down, waving his arms. Look at me, 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 look at me. No, don't pay any attention to her. Look at me. Stephen Bannon. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. It looks like Bannon, B-A-N-N-O-N. I've heard it pronounced Banyan. I've heard it pronounced Bannon. I'm not sure. Anyway, the dude in charge of Breitbart. The dude that I'm pretty sure if Andrew could haunt people and figured out how to do the poltergeist thing, he's probably hanging out in that guy's kitchen going, what are you doing to my paper? But hey, what do I know? I didn't actually get a chance to know Andrew. I've just talked to quite a few people that knew him when he was alive, and they all look at Breitbart News and go, we don't know what happened here, and Andrew would be sick to his stomach. I don't know because I don't know the guy. But from talking to people that know him, I don't think he would be happy with the direction the paper has gone. And look, I understand how the party system works. I understand the politicians that are stepping in behind Trump and saying, look, we don't have a choice. He's the nominee. But I don't have any allegiance to any party at this point. None. So I and a few other people with me are going to try to tell you how we see it until such time as it doesn't do us any good to say it anymore. And then we're going to keep trying to get your attention even after that. Because what else am I supposed to do, folks? You still have the ability to make your choices. But for now, I still have the ability to give you my opinions and to tell you why I think those opinions matter and why they're relevant. When we have a Leninist ensconced in the hierarchy of the Republican nominee for president's political apparatus, I'm a little concerned. I mean, I keep flashing back to that old lyric, jokers to the left of me, clowns to the right of me, and I'm thinking socialists to the left of me, communists to the right of me, and I'm stuck in the middle with you. I don't know how we got here, but I know how we fix it. But nobody wants to listen to me because they've already committed themselves to knowing that they have no choice but to either vote for the blue or to vote for the red. The simple fact of the matter is, folks, it's a brand war. Politics has become a brand war. It's the same folks behind the scenes pulling all the strings, and all they're trying to do is get you up to the machine and get you to figure out if you're going to push the button for Coke or push the button for Pepsi. Either way, you're still getting a soda. Either way, by the time it's done, the only thing that may change is the hands that are being greased, the special interest groups that are getting noticed, the lobbyists that are now invited around the corner for lunch because they're no longer allowed to set foot on the property of the Capitol, but they still get time. They still get FaceTime. And that's my problem, because we kept saying that we were going to hold the Congress accountable for all the different things that they didn't do when Obama was in office. But we didn't hold Obama accountable for much either. Which I think is why, as a nation, we kept trying to put the brakes on it, because we let him have control for a couple of years, and all of a sudden we didn't necessarily like the way the country was going. We heard all of these promises about Obamacare and how it was going to make life so much better for everybody. You were going to be saving money. Everybody was envisioning this $2,500 a year magically coming back into their bank accounts. Now a lot of folks are out anywhere from $2,500 a year to $7,000 a year just to keep insurance. That's now mandatory. Mandatory. You heard Dan talk about it on Friday. He's gotten raises about every year, but by the time either the taxes pick it up or the medical coverages change, he's still getting to keep the exact same amount of money. So I ask you, why are we not holding anyone accountable at this point? We're going to let the Democrats have a pass because the Republicans have been the ones with a supposed majority for this for the last few years? Did the Democrats ever once really try to work with the Republicans? Look, I'll admit the top of the ticket's a waste. As far as I'm concerned, pick any candidate that's not one of those two and make your statement known that we're tired of the two-party mess. But down ticket still matters. Find out who your congressmen and your senators are that are up for election right now. Find out whether or not you agree with what they are trying to do and have attempted to do, and vote for them. Look, folks, this is bad. This is bad. Virginia is a swing state. Texas right now has Donald Trump up by 6. 6. And one of the reddest states in the country next to mine, he's nearly within the margin of error. And I keep hearing all the Trump supporters saying, Rick, those polls are rigged. That's funny. That's not what you were saying a few months ago when they were showing that he was on top. When they were showing that he was killing every other competitor in the primary, the polls were spot on. Now that they keep shifting and his lead keeps decreasing, and in a lot of places he's already within the margin of error, and a lot of places he's on the cusp of being within the margin of error, and all of a sudden, those polls there, those polls are rigged. They're different than the ones that we were just saying were great 6 months ago, Rick. Those aren't. They're in the tank for Hillary now, Rick. They don't like Mr. Trump. They want to make sure that we get so scared that maybe we go ahead and pull that there blue lever just to make sure that we can pick the winning side. Are you kidding me right now? Donald Trump has zero ground game. It is August the 22nd, as of right now, today. And he's just now starting to run ads in swing states. Why did they wait so long, you ask? Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that they weren't really sure where all was going to be a swing state, because there are states now that are swing states that have never been swing states before, thanks to the fact that this guy cannot stop from running his mouth, cannot stop from attacking senators within the state of Texas and promising to bring political action committees, in a minute I'll remember how to talk, to try to unseat them, threatening to go after Kasich, the very popular governor of Ohio. Even after he won the nomination, he decided he needed to go after him. Why is that? Why is it that when Donald Trump goes on one of his tirades, I picture him as Bugsy Siegel? Or what was that, Al Capone from The Untouchables? They put one of ours in the hospital, we put one of theirs in the morgue. That's Trump's mentality. If he gets hit, he gets hit back 10 to 20 times harder. Damn the consequences, and who cares if it's true or not? It's about making sure that at the end of the fight, he's the last guy standing, no matter whose blood he's got on his shirt and on his knuckles. And the problem is, folks, the American people are finally starting to lose taste of it. It was entertaining for a few months. Even I have admitted on this show several times I nearly bought a ticket for the Trump train. I nearly did. And then I realized the man has no off switch. All right, so I think I have bashed Trump just about enough. We've reached the bottom of the hour. At this point, when we come back, we're going to actually change gears and start talking about the Louisiana situation. What's been done right, what's been done wrong. Pretty surprising audio that I have found that I think is pretty apropos. And again, this is the America Off the Rails, or the America Off the Rails show, sorry. And when I come back, we'll change gears and start talking about Louisiana. And there's lots to talk about there, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Things are going to get real interesting. You're listening to the Spark Radio Network.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. That's right. I finally managed to get into the chat room. The hamsters are being friendly enough now that I can hang out in there for a little bit. Want to say good evening to Ron and good evening to Miss Ann. Thank you for hanging out with us in the chat room tonight. Now, enough with Trump. I think in between the article and my little tirade at the beginning of the show, I think I've said enough about him. And actually, stay tuned. If you haven't read the article yet, you may want to go give it a once-over, because you'll notice it's actually a series of articles. The next one coming up, which I hope to have headed out here pretty quickly, is actually going to be on the Democratic Party. It's taking a little bit longer to write that one because I actually have a lot more to be angry with him about because I've been angry with him longer. So yeah, for all you the guys that were really mad at me because I was so hard on Mr. Trump, just wait. Hillary's day's coming. And then there are other things we'll be discussing in another couple articles that'll be coming up with that one as well. All right, so on to Louisiana. What's been done, what hasn't been done, what's been done right, what's been done poorly. So Hillary's basically phoning it in, just paying enough attention to it so she looks a little bit better than Obama, who's been too busy golfing to really do much of anything. And, here's the thing, folks. I don't really mind the fact that he hasn't been involved in it very much because he's the president and there's really not too much that he could do. What I don't like is the media's coloring of the incident since he hasn't been involved in it. Because even under the Bush administration, when Katrina hit, they knew there really wasn't too much that the president needed to do because everything was pretty much already in place. He'd already made the disaster declarations. FEMA was already ready to go. The groundwork was there. The machinery was there. So there really wasn't too much for the president to do. But at least he took time to survey the damage and at least fly over it. But of course, he was called a racist for doing that because why wasn't he down there? Well, he doesn't need to be down there. Why would you want the Secret Service and all of these other people that would have to be there to make sure that he stays safe in the middle of a disaster area? But the difference is, folks, now that it's a Democratic president, the media doesn't care that Louisiana's underwater because it's not sexy like a hurricane. There was no way to get advance warning. There was no way to start bashing the government weeks ahead of time because nobody knew it was coming. So it's not sexy. So what if Obama's playing golf? It's just a flood. Let the states handle it. Look, I'm a states' rights guy, so I don't really necessarily have an issue with that. What I have an issue with is the media completely being silent in this one. I didn't even realize how bad the Louisiana flood was because nobody's really even talking about it in the news. You occasionally hear a little bit about it or bits and pieces here and there. Other than that, nobody's even talking about it. And it's a Democratic president, and it's not sexy. Now, Donald Trump has been taking all kinds of fire. And there's a reason I spent the first part of the show being really hard on him, because once in a while I have to give him some credit. So Samuel L. Jackson puts out a tweet the other day making fun of Donald Trump because when he was giving relief supplies to folks in Louisiana, one of the things in the top of these big boxes was Play-Doh. Samuel L. Jackson's response was, what? So you're there to help people that have been hit by a flood and give them food, etc. And since when? And how does Play-Doh help that situation? Or who's going to eat the Play-Doh? To that I say, I'm sure there were plenty of other boxes and crates with food and water, but I honestly like the fact that somebody took the time to get some toys, because there were children that I'm sure were impacted in this flood. And yes, maybe it was a photo op. Maybe his shirt was a little too pressed. Maybe there were way too many people around wearing high heels for it to even look anywhere near legitimate. But the simple fact of the matter is, he still did something. A lot more than a lot of other folks have done. Samuel L. Jackson wasn't all of a sudden busting out with, here's what's in my wallet, and here's my credit card, I'm going to take care of you folks. No, he didn't do that. He started making fun of somebody for at least making an attempt. But there's an interesting thing about the Louisiana situation, because you know how Black Lives Matter is always about, Black lives are important, we need to focus on those, we need to pay attention to those, because Black lives are being wasted, and there's things that aren't fair, there's social injustice in the world. Interesting thing is, they had a chance to show that they were more than just a mouthpiece for hate. And apparently a lot of people are mad that they dropped the ball. And this guy, who happens to also be a black person, is going to say a few words about it, and we're going to cue that up.
Look, but what up? I just want to go live for a little second because I just want to ask a question. It might seem a little petty, but I want to know, where are the Black Lives Matter and the Black Panthers? Because I ain't seen one Black Panther boat or one Black Lives Matter boat. All I see is our own people from our city and the wildlife and fisheries and the police and all that. All I see is our people from our own city, saving us, going in and rescuing people. I see plenty of brothers who got boats and trucks going in and rescuing people, taking the time out their own life and going in and rescuing people. But I have not seen not one Black Panther boat, not one Black Lives Matter boat, truck, or nothing else. So with all the drama that was going on with the Alton Sterling killing, they came out with guns and ready to go to war. But here we go, all these people flooded out and truly in need of some help, and you can't find not one of them. If you find one, holler at me, let me know. Post up. If y'all out there, where you at? Where your boats? Where your money? Where your food? Where your services at? You ain't brought these people no water, nothing yet. BLM, Black Lives Matter. Obviously, we must don't matter too much, because I ain't seen y'all yet. When we really need you, we ain't really need you for the war, but we really need you for this flood. Now, I'm going to let y'all see. Where y'all at? I ain't heard from them yet. If y'all really care about these people, show up now. I'm just saying, though. I'm out.
All right, so I thought that would come much better from someone of color than from me, but it's one of the same glaring thoughts that I've had. Anytime there has been any type of a natural disaster that has more impacted the black community than any other, you don't see the Black Panthers or the Black Lives Matter movement out there rolling up their sleeves and getting things done. I wonder why that is, because these are the same people that are saying that black people need their own banks, their own schools, their own shopping centers, their own money, their own police force. But as soon as anything happens, they don't really rise up and help each other unless they're already part of the affected area. There's no large-scale Black Lives Matter folks coming in and swooping down like you see happen pretty much anywhere else. I know of hundreds of people from Oklahoma that have donated blood, that have donated money, that have donated time. We have folks from the Oklahoma Gas and Electric Company that headed out as soon as they were authorized to start trying to make sure to do what they could do to make sure that people that had lost power due to the flooding were able to get it restored, etc. We see this happen all the time. And it's one of the things that lets you know when, as crazy as the government may be, and as crazy as some things are in this state, there really is this thing called the Oklahoma Standard. And it's when people get hit, when people get hurt, when bad things happen, we rise up and we take care of one another. It's why we get so surprised when people in other states don't do the same thing. But when you have an entire group like Black Lives Matter talking about how much the black life should matter to all of us, and yet you have people from different organizations and different power companies from all over the country going down and helping. You have firefighters going down and helping. You have police officers. I know some who took personal leaves of absences to go help down there. These same people that these Black Lives Matter folks are, these people are evil. It doesn't matter what color their skin is because they've got the white man's uniform on, so they're evil. These people that don't even live anywhere near that are giving up their time to go down and help in any way that they can. And yet nobody's talking about that. Why is it that the news never gives us anything good anymore? You'll get the occasional fluff piece on Saturday mornings, but the rest of the time it's doom, gloom, despair, agony on me. That's because that's what sells. All we hear about anymore is the negative. All we see anymore is the negative. And it's permeating our entire society. Look, I'm not on the ground in Louisiana, so I don't know who all stepped up. I don't know how many local folks are in there and they did what they had to do and they've rolled up their sleeves and they're getting to work. I'm sure there were plenty of them. Just like I know that a lot of people from surrounding states went down to help because that's what we do. That's one of the reasons why I've always said, really, when it comes right down to it, we don't need government intervention as much as we simply need the ability to get the help to the places that we need to be able to get it to, as much as full government control. Because people will help one another. Or at least most people. But where are these folks? All these people marching, talking about how we need reverse segregation at this point. We need black people at the front, white people at the back. They had a chance to step up. BLM is a rather large group. They could have swept in there and shown people that they're more than just a bunch of hate mongers. Did they do it? No. Did Obama do anything? Not really. I mean, he did the things that a president normally has to do. He activated some emergency response stuff, did a few of the things that he needed to do, but he's still off playing golf and still supposedly enjoying his vacation. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I've run businesses before, this one excluded. When something goes sideways and you're on vacation, your vacation's over. It's just the way it works. When you run a country and something goes sideways, then your vacation's over until it's fixed. And that's just the way it works. That's why everybody talks about all these vacations that W took all the time. Most of the time, if W took a vacation anywhere, it was to his ranch in Texas. And it was outfitted well enough that if anything happened, he could work from there. And there were plenty of times while he was supposedly on vacation that he was working from that ranch. And yet, this guy's off playing golf. Media doesn't cover it. Even Bryce, our resident liberal, host of Opinion Nation and co-host on Finding Common Ground, actually gave him a pass. And look, I never said that I wanted the president there, and that was what Bryce kept trying to put in my mouth, was, well, you're just mad because he's not there. You're just mad because you don't think he's doing anything. No, I'm mad because of the way the media is portraying it. Because if this had been a Republican president, they would be calling for his head, just like they did with Bush. But instead, since it's a Democratic president, nobody's talking about it in the news. Donald Trump actually does something that, at least from an optics perspective, looks fairly good. And yet the media still trashes it. You guys have heard me go after Trump time and time and time again, but I will at least point out when I think he's done something that is noteworthy. This is one of those times. And yes, it may have been staged. It may have been opportunistic, but I can't blame the man. Because if the president and the other person running for president were too busy, sure, I would swoop in and make it look like I was trying to help and then actually do some good at the same time. I mean, we don't necessarily know what he did off camera either. There's probably all kinds of things that he's done that we don't know about. But it still doesn't change the fact that I ultimately don't think that either one of the people that we have slated to become president in the two major parties right now are good for the country. And it doesn't change the fact that we have groups of people now that are intertwined in both major parties that should be considered terrorist organizations. The alt-right is nothing but a glorified terrorist organization. Black Lives Matter is nothing but a glorified terrorist organization. They have made threats, terroristic threats. I've had people from the alt-right tell me that when Donald Trump gets president, I might as well get ready for the ovens. Or that I need to get on board the train or I'm going to be put under the train. This is why I'm so concerned. For the first time in my lifetime, we have both major parties being run by groups that are condoning anger and hatred. Hillary Clinton's condoning the anger and the hatred of the Black Lives Matter movement by continuing to give them legitimacy. We've seen what's happened with that legitimacy. They've become more and more outspoken. They've become more and more dangerous. They now have people stating that black people and white people can no longer coexist. that black people are out for blood at this point because we've supposedly been out for theirs now for generations. We have Donald Trump, whether he realizes it or not, that is giving legitimacy to an entire group of people that are called the alt-right. For those of you who don't know what that is, I strongly encourage you to look it up, especially if you still have any doubts at all about who it is that you're going to be voting for. Neither of these people deserve our vote because of the people that they continue to surround themselves with. Valerie Jarrett has been, I actually think I said Uma Abedin earlier. Valerie Jarrett has had the ear of President Obama now for nearly 8 years. Uma Abedin has had the ear of Hillary Clinton and possibly other pieces of anatomy for quite some time. Stephen Bannon, not sure on the pronunciation, is now an advisor to Donald Trump. None of these people are good people. When did the party of Reagan and Lincoln suddenly become the party of Doc Comrade? I don't understand how we let this happen. And what I really don't understand about how we let this happen is no matter how many of us stand up and start jumping up and down and waving our arms and saying, hey guys, I know you're having fun on this train right here, but it's taking you towards a cliff and you're not noticing. Oh, sit down and shut up, Rick. Donald Trump's going to be the one that's going to save this country. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's going to finish destroying what's left of our country. Hillary Clinton's probably going to do the exact same thing. But at this point, I'm less concerned about her than I am him. Because she's a hair's breadth away from being impeached anyway. If any one of these things that has tried to stick to her before the election actually gets handled properly once she's elected, then we're probably going to have a President Kane before too much longer. I mean, don't get me wrong, folks. I don't want either one of them as president. And I could be completely wrong about Donald Trump, but I don't think so. I have always been really good at reading people, and there's something about him that absolutely terrifies me. It's been that way for as long as I can remember. I never watched The Apprentice. I never watched the Miss USA pageant once he became involved in it. I've rarely ever watched him speak because listening to him makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It always has. It hasn't changed. It almost changed, I'm not going to lie. For about 3 weeks, when he first declared, and I watched him come in and start beating the crap out of the press and beating the crap out of Jeb Bush and a couple of the other ones that I thought didn't even deserve to be on the stage. I almost bought the ticket, folks. I almost drank the Kool-Aid. And then I realized the man didn't have an off switch. And I realized it was going to be another 8 years just like we've had with Obama. Except Trump actually understands how to wield the power that it took Obama nearly 6 years to figure out. If you think that the pen and the phone action under Obama has been terrifying, just wait till either one of these idiots gets a hold of the presidential pen and the presidential phone. Because that bell's been rung, folks. It can't be unrung. It is what it is. We have abdicated our responsibility. We have slept too long. And as we have slept, the Democratic Party has been taken over by wolves, and the Republican Party has been taken over by jackals. We have a party that is heavily leaning into socialist policies. We now have a party that is veering completely into communist policies. The only difference is they're calling it something different. They're calling it populism. Populism, by definition, is nearly the same thing as socialism. What makes this more like communism is the fact that they're starting to become more and more violent with their rhetoric. The only major difference between socialism and communism is implementation. Socialism happens gradually over time through legislation. Communism happens with violent overthrow. Look at some of the posts centering around Donald Trump. Look at some of the posts centering around the people that are supporting Donald Trump. About the poll watchers, which is illegal, by the way. But, remember when we used to get freaked out and upset because nobody was doing anything about the Black Lives Matter groups? Now we're going to do the same thing when we were just screaming that it was illegal. Go figure. All right, so tomorrow night, folks, we may do things a little bit differently. My son is having his 20th birthday, so I'm trying to figure out if Jen wants to come on with me a little bit later. We may actually just do that one under the America Off the Rails banner and then do a replay for the Jen and Rick show. But at this point, I actually almost forgot my son's birthday because we were supposed to go do something yesterday for it, and things completely fell apart. So I will be live with you tomorrow night, but I'll only be live with you for 1 hour, not 2. Stay tuned here in just a minute. We're going to get the Rhino Report up and running. This is America Off the Rails, and you've been listening to us live on KLNR Radio at our klnrradio.com, our new digital home here. Sorry. It's been a very long day, and apparently my brain is beginning to stop working. So on that note, I am out. Stay tuned for the Rhino Report. If you're hearing us on one of our other affiliates or one of our other syndicates, check your local listings for what's coming up next. Have a great night.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man.